Well, hello and welcome to Lori's Crafting Place.blogspot.com. So glad that you could join me today. And we're going to finish up the Creativity Made Simple that I've been doing, these card templates that came from Jackie Bolhuis with Klompen Stampers. So if you get a chance to visit her YouTube channel, I encourage you to do that. It's great. And anyways, so let's get started, and I'll show you these cards that some of them I came up with my own ideas, and some were what I cased from her. So let's get going here. I'm going to turn you around here. Oops, get off my scissors there. I'm going to put this down. And that should be about right, I think. Yeah, I just want to keep everything up this way. All right, so we're going to go backwards again. So we're going to start with a volume 4. And we're doing 1 through 4. So this was the template. I like that with a tag right there. So then your measurements are always, the card bases in these are 5.5 by 4 1/4. I don't know why I have such trouble with that. Anyway, and then your first layer is 2 by 3 1/4, which is the tag. And then the circle is a 2-inch circle. I don't know why I have it written that way. And then, like I said, you don't have to use a circle. This looks like it's about a 1/2 inch by 2 3/4. So I don't know, I didn't write that out there right, but there's your measurements. So this is the card that I came up with, or that I did. So I put the tag, and then instead of using a circle, I die cut this out. And then I put bling on there. And I could go back and put a sentiment using that little sentiment piece. And let me see, did I do the inside? No, I haven't done the inside. So that was for that one. And I made mine bigger, way bigger than this one. So anyways, and put some ribbon on it. So that's that one. I'll stick it over here. And then the next one in the templates is still volume 4. And this is the template. I like this tag. And I think I told you how to do the bottoms of these tags, is you just cut up with your scissors, and then you just go in, and then you cut in that way, and it makes this point, or this little tag there. And so let's see, let's check out the card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The banner layer, that's called a banner. Oh, that's what this is a banner. Okay, sometimes I don't remember what those things are called, but anyways. The banner layer is 4 1/2 by 2 1/4. The square layer is a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. The circle is a 2.5 inch circle. And then your sentiment piece is a 1/2 inch by 3 1/2, which is that right there. And then this is the card. I love this paper. I think it is really pretty. And then I stamped on it in some white. And like I've been telling you, you could emboss the back of this. You could emboss this. And you don't have to use designer series paper, but it is pretty. I really have some pretty paper. I haven't done anything to the inside of that one either, obviously. These were the first ones I did, so I don't think I finished the insides of them. But anyways, there's that, and I don't know if I showed you the measurements. So there we are. Okay, and I still think we're in volume 4. Oh, you know what I did? I made 2 of these. So that is odd that I did that. Okay, I guess I have 2 different templates, or 2 of the same template. So we'll just pick this one. And so we'll turn it over. Well, actually, I'll put that down there and I'll take up my card. Okay, and so it's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 base, and then your layer 1 is 4 1/4 by 3. You have 2 circles that are 3 inches. Is that 3 inches? No, those are not 3 inches. Those are about 2 1/4 inch circles, or 2-inch circles, and they don't have to be circles, as you'll see in a minute. And then your sentiment layer is 2 1/4 by 1/2. I didn't use circles, but I used hearts. And I really liked this. I put some designer paper back here and then layered this red piece. And like I said, you could, if you had a little heart embossing folder, you could emboss this and it would be really cute. And then I didn't even use this little rectangle piece for my sentiment. I'd use that shape that I just cut out and layered it. So I thought that turned out really cute. I don't think I did the inside of this one either. Nope, I didn't. So there's that one. There's your measurements. I thought it turned out really cute. I like that card. And then let's see if we're moving on here. Nope, we're still in volume 4. So there was a lot, and somehow I don't know why I ended up with making 2 of these. So, but I did. So this one's with red and this one's with blue paper. And then I'll put that up there so you can see it. See the measurements. And so the card base, again, is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and the layer is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. And then you have 3 rectangles that are 2 by 1 1/8, and then your sentiment piece, which is 1/2 by 1 1/2. So you can see you have these 3, and then you have your little piece there for your sentiment. And so this is what I did. So I took some white, and then I had these stamp, and I just stamped off so it would be really light on there. I think you can see that. And they're little hearts. And then I had the ladybugs and the ladybug paper, and I thought it was so cute. I think somewhere in my stash I have some ladybugs. I could stick a couple on here. That would really add to the card. Oh. And then I guess I must have started putting some paper in the insides or decorating my insides. But I like that card too. Oh, that was cute. And then instead of the rectangle piece for the sentiment right here, I just punched out a heart and then wrote on it lots of bugs and kisses. I thought that would make a cute card for one of my grandkids. So that's that one. Let's see. Okay, no, I did not make two samples or 2 templates. This one has some strips behind it, and then the focal piece. And like I said, you can put a background piece of designer series paper behind here. You could emboss on it. You could emboss on these. And so let's get a picture of this. All right, so again, our base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then you have 3 strips that are 1 by 4 1/2. And then your focal layer is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. And this, what I did was I turned it this way. So these cards, you don't have to just make it that way. You can turn it this way. You can turn them. And that's what I did. And I also, it's hard to tell, but I did emboss on these red pieces. So it's under there. And I think it was words or something that I embossed. And then I put, this is my focal piece. And I liked that one too. Of course, I like them all. So, anyhow. And then let's see, we are still on, oh, here I did that. Okay, we're still on volume 4, so there's a lot of cards in volume 4. And the reason I used, instead of just using a front for the card template, I used the whole thing because you see how there's a piece here cut off. So anyway, and you can do it like that way, or you can go this way. And I think I turned mine this way. I changed mine around, so I'll show you here. But let's get the other side so that you'll have the measurements. So this time, this time the card base is an 8 by 5.5, and you score it at 3 3/4, and then that's what's going to give you this piece that's shorter than the back piece. And so then your layer is 4 1/4 by 2, and then your circle is a 3-inch circle. And this is what I did. So I turned it this way, and I used these birds and these lilacs. I thought it was really pretty. And then I put a piece of this purple paper on the part that's longer, and a little bird inside. So I like that. I think that's a cute card. Anyway, let me put that on top. Let's move on and let's see where we're at now. We're in volume 3 now. Okay, so volume 3. So this is the template. Pretty simple. Piece back here, piece here, and then this little banner. And let's get the measurements. There. So card base, 4 1/4 by 5.5. Your first layer is a 4 by 5 1/4. The next layer is 2 3/4 by 4.5, and then the banner is a 1/2 by 3.5. And this is the card I did. I just love this paper. And this is popped up, this piece here. And then I used white craft ink to stamp my saying. And then I just put a piece of that peachy color paper in there. I thought it made a pretty nice card. So there's that one. And I still think we're in volume 3. I never remember how many are in each volume, but this one was real simple. You just have a 3-inch circle and then your little sentiment piece. And so this is how I did it. I didn't use a 3-inch circle. I also embossed the background. You can see that there's a brick wall that I embossed it. And then I cut out a 2-inch circle and then die cut these flowers and leaves, and then put those on there, and then just cut this way and cut that way for my banner, and stamped again in the white craft ink. But I thought it was a cute card, and I could have made a bigger circle, but I didn't want to hide this brick. I like the brick. And then I stamped some flowers inside. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much you could do with this. You wouldn't have to put a circle even. You could just put, like, make this like a wall with vines on it and flowers and stuff. That would be cute. Oh, anyway, now let's see. We're still volume 3. I should mark these, I guess. But this one was interesting. So you have 2 longer pieces. Well, let's go start back here. You have a matte an orange piece that is matted, and then on top of that I put, you have this 2 long pieces and then 2 little short pieces that fit in there. But I thought that was kind of cool. And then your sentiment. And then, like, remember, you don't have to go, you can go this way if you want. So this is what I did. And you could emboss. I embossed on these. I had a striped, I think you can see that. I had a striped embossing folder. So I embossed these 2 pieces. These I just left. And then I put a couple circles on it. And let's see if I did something on the inside. Nope, not on that one. Also, I don't think I held that up so that you could see the measurements. But I thought that was cute. I thought it turned out cute. And put some bling on there. Put some twine. Baker's twine. And then let's see what this next template is. It's volume 2 now. So, and this one, really simple. You have a piece here and you just move it over to the edge. And then you have a couple little sentiment, or one's the background and then the sentiment right there. And then these are your measurements, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then you have that big layer that is a 3 1/2 by 5. And then you have 2 strips of paper, 3 1/2 by 1/2 inch. And the first one is your sentiment layer. So what I did was I took this color. This is a textured paper. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then I have these, what are those things called? We always blew on them in the summertime, you know. I can't think of what they're called right now. Anyways, I have the stamp set for that. And then I just backed it with some black. And then I stamped all over the white piece. And then I did one of them right here. And there's some blown off to the side. And then did my sentiment and put the black behind that. And offset it. So that's what I did there. And then I did that on the inside. So actually it was a really easy one to do. Those will come to me. I can't think of what they are right now. Puff balls or something, but that's not what they're called. So let's do volume 2. This is another very simple one. And that's one thing I like about Jackie Bolhuis. A lot of, you know, this is called Creativity Made Simple. And almost all of her cards she makes are very easy and simple. So yeah, it's they're fun to do. So here's your big piece and then your sentiment piece. Now let me put that up there so you can see. So the card base again is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then that big layer is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And then your sentiment layer is a 1 by 2 3/4. And what I did, you can see I have an embossing folder that has that puff ball or whatever that is you call, whatever you call that one there. So you can see it's in the background on the blue. Well, let me get that up there, right? I really liked that one. And so I put that in there and I kind of made it patriotic, so red, white, and blue. And then put the focal pieces bigger than this one, and I also backed it with some red, and then put the red rhinestones in there, which I like that. And then I put some more of those little things. So there was that card. And let's see this one here. Let's see. This is a shorty. So this one I did 2 different ways. So we have your banner and then we have your focal point. And like I said, you can turn it sideways. There's different things you can do. So the first thing I did was I did turn it sideways and I put it on a smaller card, a little note card, made a smaller banner, and then put that, well, this was Jackie's idea, and then put presents. I had these kind of presents, so I just cut those out and made this into a birthday card, put some bling on there, and I don't know if I did anything on the inside. No, I didn't. So that's how I did that one, and then this other one, I left it this way, this direction. And I liked these color combination. And so and also you can tell that I turned this piece. So I turned it this way instead of going across this way. So I thought that was pretty and stamped on it. And then I did put some flowers on the inside. So anyway, those are the two card samples that go with this template. Okay. And let me see what we got. We're still in, oh no, we're into volume 1. Okay. So it looks like there's a few cards here in volume 1. So this one I thought was really interesting. And so you have all these strips, and then you put your focal layer right there. And again, you can turn this, it doesn't have to go this way, you can turn it that way. So card base 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then you have 10 strips that are 1/2 inch by 3 3/4. So you have 5 of one color and 5 of another color. And it could be designer series paper, as you'll see. And then you have a 2 1/2 inch circle. So this is what I did. I put some black behind them because I wanted it to pop out. And then I did 5 of the pink and then 5 of the butterflies. And you kind of stagger them. And then I had a black circle with a butterfly. Oh, I thought it was cute. And then some butterfly paper. So really easy. So there's that one. And then we got, let me see. I think that one goes there, but let me do this one first. Okay. So this one, you have this red piece, which is narrower. Then you had a couple black squares and this. And these don't have to be squares. They can be circles. They can be stickers. They could be flowers. They could be animals, whatever. And then we're going to flip it over. Card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. First layer is 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then you have 2 squares that are you have 2 squares that are 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then you have another square that is 1/2 by 2 3/4. That goes behind. So this is the card I made. So you can see. So I took a piece of paper, designer series paper, put it down there. Then I backed the white in the black. I could have put some black behind here too. That would have been cool. That would have been nice. So anyway, and then stamped on them, put a bow on there, stamped a flower inside. And then I took this, and so instead of using squares or circles, I put roses, I put flowers, and I had some of this paper. And I liked the color. I liked the design and the color in the papers. And then did that on the inside. So you can see what I did from this template. So yeah, I liked that. I thought, what could I do besides squares and so, or circles? And I thought, aha, flowers. So that's what I did there. Liked that. And then let's see, this one is right here. Okay, so this is my last one. So we had 3 pieces like this in rectangles, and then a circle. And then we're gonna card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My first layer is 2 1/2 by 1 3/4, and you need 2 of those. Then the focal point was a 2 1/2 inch circle. Let me put that up there so you can see the measurements. I hope I did that to this one. I don't know if I did or not, so we'll put that up there. And that one went to this one. Okay, that's because I think I forgot. I got so excited about the card. And so the card I made was this. So instead of alternating or staggering these rectangles, I just lined them up and I stamped on them, and then I put them back in that order. And then added a dragonfly and added the circle, put some rhinestones. I did stamp up here some little dragonflies. And I don't know if you can tell, my dragonflies got sparkle. I love to use my Wink Castella pen on things. So that I thought was really, really, really cute. Let's see what, and then I put some of those on the inside and I colored them. So that was one. And then this one, I did stagger it, but I didn't put a circle on it. And I embossed, you could see that I embossed the background. And I liked this card. Oh, I thought that was nice. And then put a strip of paper down here. That kind of goes with this paper right here. So those are my 2 samples of this card template. So there you have it. So I am done with all these, and that took me quite a while to finish these up. I have another one that I just did and completed. I like this card template here. And you had a centerpiece, and this didn't go with this series. It's just one that she had made. And so your card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then you need 3 pieces that are 1 by 3, 3 pieces that are 1 1/8 by 3 1/8, and then 1 piece that's 1 by 5 1/2. So hopefully you can see all that. And so, like I said, you can turn it this way, you can turn it this way, you can turn it this way, you can turn it this way. I mean, you can turn these however you want. So what I did was I took a card here and I laid it down this way. So instead of so that's how I did it. And then I put some of that paper. I love this rose paper. I got it a long time ago. And then I just put that there. I was going to put a sentiment across here. So I think I'm going to do that with the happy birthday. I'll put that across there. So these are kind of the same, except this one I embossed. You can see the embossing on here. I didn't emboss this one. So I made it a little different. And let's see, what did I do on the inside? Nothing yet. So I thought they were pretty. That one's just card. I think I already shared that one with you guys. So that was fun. That was fun. I keep making all these cards. So yeah, one day I'm going to use them all because I'm going to be teaching classes again. I hope. I don't get too old to do that. I love doing it. It's so much fun. So anyways, thank you for joining me. I hope that you give some of these cards a try. They're super simple. And until next time, happy creating. And I will be going on vacation the end of the month, and I'll be gone for 3 weeks. So I'm not going to be making any videos in that time. So anyways, I'll see you when I come back in September. But have a wonderful rest of your summer. And like I said, happy creating. Okay, bye-bye.